6484 Route 96 in Victor. Try these deals. Lease a 2026 Jeep Compass Limited SUV, only $289 a month for 36 months. Must have lease loyalty. A 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited SUV is just $389 for 36 months. Must have lease loyalty. A 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sport S convertible is just $279 a month for 36 months. Must have 4xe lease loyalty. And a 26 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab pickup is $429 a month for 39 months. Must have lease loyalty. All lease deals require $2,500 cash or trade down. First payment, DMV taxes and fees due with signing. 7,500 miles per year except Ram pickup. 10,000 miles per year. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. The selection and deals are great at the most beautiful new vehicle sales and service dealership in the area. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, now at 6484 Route 96, just east of Victor.
WYSL.
Mira a la izquierda, mira a la derecha. ¿Qué ves? ¿Dónde estás? In a world that seems to change daily, what will you do next? Welcome to the Next Steps Show with Peter Vazquez, a starting point for discussion y un poco de dirección.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, live from our Studio 6 Motel Studios in Greece, here's Peter Vazquez.
Soy yo, Motel Studios.
You haven't followed the news story on that?
I must have missed it.
Yes, the town of Greece just shut down the Studio 6 Motel in Greece because of assorted naughtiness going on there.
Oh, no, man.
A few code violations, or a dozen or two. But whatever.
Code violations at Motel 6. You know, that is one chain that I would never visit.
Studio 6.
Studio 6. They're all the same thing.
Studio 6 Studios, get it?
You know what they're good for? Homelessness, drug use.
Careful now.
I'm just saying, homelessness. I mean, really, DSS, they love those places. They send people that are homeless to those places all the time. Did you know that?
Sometimes $500 a night.
Sometimes $500 a night. You know, elections matter, guys. Check this out. Hey, I'm going to try to change subjects here before we all get in trouble.
Yes.
Reuters and IPSOS polls conducted June 12th through the 25th.
Reuters, by the way.
R-E-U.
Yes, pronounced Reuters.
Reuters. Where the heck is the I?
It was it's one of those wacky English pronunciation things. English is a very strange language, Peter.
Okay, you know something? I'm going to go into race thing here for a second.
Sound like it looks.
No. It's intentional. It's so you guys can trip us people of color up. See, even using words like that trips us up.
Ladies and gentlemen, born in Rochester, New York.
Polls conducted June 12th through the 15th of this year found that 64% of Republicans plan to display the American flag or patriotic punting or something like that for July 4th, being American, right?
Yeah.
27% of Democrats said, nope, absolutely not.
Sure. Of course, flying the flag is going to be controversial to leftists.
And this is we got a guest for this next half hour here. She's phenomenal because this is the thing that I see, guys. America's great tragedy, right? It's not strangers. Right? It's not strangers who fail to understand her. I don't believe that. This is what I believe. I believe that too many of our own children, meaning the nation's own children, right, have forgotten what they have inherited from our fathers and mothers. Mira, we're going to approach July 4th here really, really fast, celebrating 250 years since, well, the Declaration of Independence that made us free. God, country, y familia, regardless of skin color, regardless, check it out, of wherever you came from. And now, today, here, we're going to have a discussion with a guest that brings that kind of clarity. Born and raised in Kenya, educated in Kenyatta University, formed by faith, public policy, grassroots, constitutional liberty. Can you say God, country, and familia? See? Mira, she didn't inherit America casually. She chose it. She studied it. She worked it. And today she serves it. In her own words, she says that, check this out, that was God's challenge to me, she says, when I came to America. You seek the welfare of this nation. Let those words sink in for a minute, ladies and gentlemen, while I introduce to you, to the Honorable Project 21 Ambassador Jacqueline Jackee Andrews. Miss Andrews, bienvenida at Next Step Show. And so you know this is going to be an exciting show because I have the voice of liberty himself, Robert Savage, y el señor Gary Stout, host and producer of the Second Amendment Show right here on the Voice of Liberty.
Muchas gracias, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for that introduction. I feel small. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
No, don't feel small. We're all giants in our own mind around here.
Well, yeah, compared to that introduction, like, what are they talking about? But here I am, and it's such a privilege to join you and your listeners today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for joining us in America. God bless you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this nation. Can you tell?
I'm getting that. I'm picking up on it.
And everything that I read in preparation for today, Jackie, you definitely love this nation. Let me quote you one more time, if I may. You said, I am super engaged and passionate about the issues that affect us because they also affect the rest of the world. Now, you're speaking like somebody who was born and raised in America because, if we listen to, really people on the left, Democrats almost, they would have us convinced, especially as, blacks and Hispanics, that this nation doesn't like us.
Oh, far from it, Peter. I mean, if the past few weeks, let's just say the past 2 weeks are any indication, you've seen on social media how all of these foreigners, all of these visitors from all nations are having an awakening about America because our media has sold a lie. Our media has undersold America. And not to speak about even who is America, what is America? America is not, in my mind and in my experience, America, and from understanding in the history of this nation, we're not like a lot of other nations. We're not just a geographical place and then the people who are found in that geographical place.
Yeah.
America is actually a cultural system. It's a system. It's a mindset. America is very unique because it is a set of ideals carried out as a culture of self-government. So when people come here and see what those ideals have produced, the vast amount of resources, and they look at Walmart. I'm seeing people getting super enthused about seeing people from the United Kingdom saying, wow, this is so huge. Look at this grocery store. They're huge. What is that? What is that abundance?
Yeah.
There is something to be said about that. And that's the truth. But I'm more concerned, more interested in figuring out what the root is so that I can know how to preserve that for the next generation, for the next generation of Americans who were born here or who immigrate here legally.
That is Project 21 Ambassador Jackie Andrews. Ma'am, you're from Kenya, and I'm going to ask you, it may be a little weird question, right? But there's another individual from Kenya who's impacted this nation, unfortunately, not in the same way that you're speaking, ma'am. And many people, may think, well, if you come from Kenya or from Africa or anywhere in that part of the world, then there's no way you can be pro-American because the example that we have as a former president, right, who is very anti-American, very anti-Christian, is from the same area that you're from. Let me ask you, are you guys from the same, villages or near villages or anything like that?
From what I can tell, if all of the stories are true, not.
Okay.
But that's not the issue. The issue is that our values are very diametrically opposed because I recognize God as the author of life and the one from whom all our rights come.
Yes.
God is the one that is the author of liberty, and I don't have the right to impose my idea or what I want on other people. Case in point, the Affordable Care Act. That's just one of the examples that everybody has had a chance to not only talk about, but also experience. But the idea that I can impose what I want upon people who were created by God in his own image is completely opposite of what the founders saw and wanted to create. They wanted to create a nation where people can freely worship their God. We can worship God as He has prescribed in the scriptures, without any hindrance, without anybody stepping up into a role of government where then they tell you what you can and cannot do. And so,
go ahead.
So just from that foundation, then everything else kind of flows, and we see the fruit of the beliefs, the opposite beliefs. So he doesn't acknowledge God. He evolved on what God actually said is a fundamental core and cellular core of society, which is the family, the father, a mother, and the children. He evolved on it, and now we are, as a nation, celebrating the idea of intentionally bringing children into the world and intentionally denying them a mother or a father.
Or even the concept of what is a woman and a man that defines a mom and a dad.
That's right. So, and then that's just the next thing. It's the great slippery slope.
Yeah.
That the book of Romans that Paul talked about in Romans chapter 1. It's the great slippery slope. And so because you don't acknowledge God nor give thanks to Him, that's what you create. And when somebody has so much power and you put them in a place of authority where then that flows into policy, then the nation, what can the nation do? And what I would love to even get a little more into is my core, like what I would want people to take away from our conversation today. It's that we have a way out, because that was already planned out, that is in our core DNA as a nation. And it's what I like to call the great local reset, right? So we're looking all around and we're looking at our nation, we're hearing what all of these, all the news, all the fake news, all the narratives, everything. And you can get overwhelmed. And then you feel like, what does it matter? I'm just not going to get involved. I'm just going to focus on whatever, my job, trying to survive. Well, I want to say you have an opportunity in America as we approach our 250th birthday. You have an opportunity to actually change that narrative and become locally involved. Think about local involvement, because our nation was formed from the ground up. It was small localities. It was 13 colonies. Small localities, just from Jamestown to Plymouth. And then you go into having 13 colonies. Then that came together and formed a nation. So
Jackie,
have the blueprint.
I got to go to break real quick. We'll be right back, though. Ladies and gentlemen, Project 21 Ambassador Jacqueline and Jackee Andrews will be right back right here on the Voice of Liberty. See? Hey, you can come hang with the gang when you're listening. No te vayas.
Terry, Peter, and yours truly on Next Steps WYSL, WLEA. We'll be right back.
I figured I might transfer, but I'd like to get to know. Yes,
If you're looking for an electrician to help with your projects around your home, office, or business, call TriStar Electric. They're your friendly neighborhood electricians, and they can help you replace an electrical outlet, install a ceiling fan, or replace your whole electrical service. They're also the preferred professionals for Tesla EV chargers and Generac generators. Veteran and family owned. Call TriStar Electric today, 585-880-0529, or book an appointment at tri-star-electric.com.
The youth of our city are in a new crisis. Criminal justice reform has created the consequences of no consequences and generated a whole new generation of 12 to 17-year-old kids committing serious crimes. Never before have we had this level of youthful offenders, but 90% of these kids are just trying to do the right thing and need a safe sanctuary to retreat to. That's Rochester Youth for Christ. You can be a part of this solution by giving generously and regularly at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Peter Vazquez and Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty.
We're finding out about the Great Local Reset. Very intriguing concept here. On the line, we've got Jackee Andrews along with Peter Vazquez. Peter?
Yep, that's me. And we also have Gary Stout. See, ladies and gentlemen, you know something? We talk about local reset, and all politics are local. And when we talk about things like election integrity, when we talk about election reform, or how about this? The dignity of a lawful vote. I like that idea. But things have become so partisan, right? I can't even say black and white anymore. Just partisan, Gary. Would you agree? Check this out. The pride flag in Webster, the pride flag in Henrietta, raising, right, which it shouldn't be. But this is what happens. Right down party lines. Webster, although I agree with them, had to put a lock on their flagpole to stop, right, the LGBTQ from removing their flags. Right down party line. 3-2 vote. 3 Republicans voted against it. Democrats voted for it. Henrietta, a full Democrat vote. Right? That flag is probably flying higher than the American flag in every state in this nation for some crazy reason. See? Apparently evil seems to be, well, the forefront. Ladies and gentlemen, sí, como dijo el señor Sabaje, Project 21 Ambassador Jackie Andrews, ma'am, thank you for your time. Let's talk a little bit about here on election integrity. See, Project 21 wrote a piece that's called What Election Reforms Means for Black America. And I'll tell you, Jackie, the two gentlemen here with me today, they live and breathe election reform, election integrity, because we know that elections, well, they're not as honest as they were. And that's impacting, well, something that Black America, women, and really almost everybody fought for in this nation. I mean, the whole right to vote was central to the civil rights movement.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the challenge. The challenge is that, first of all, people, we think that most people are thinking, how can we solve this problem from a national level? Because we've become nationally obsessed. And what that has done is that we've become locally disconnected. We're thinking that right now we're having this conversation about Save America Act. While I 100% support that Save America Act, it's great. But we're so far gone as far as elections, election integrity goes. We've lost it, but we've lost it in the localities. I see the votes are always counted locally. And a great philosopher said, it's not so much who casts their votes, but who counts the votes. And that's where our problems are when it comes to election integrity and transparency and all of those things. But I'm fully convinced, in fact, not just Project 21, the organization that I work for, Citizens Defending Freedom, this is a core issue. In fact, it's one of the pillars that we work on, and we have plenty of resources to help citizens locally impact elections. And at the end, I'll share the website so people can go and download those tools and be able to educate themselves. But here's the thing. If we're not engaged locally, it won't matter what's happening at the national level. 100%. Everybody knows the name of the president. Most people know the name of their senator, U.S. senator, or people at the national level. People know who is the people on the news, the talking heads on the news. But most people, a lot of people, maybe not most, but a lot of people don't know the names of their local officials, their local board of supervisors, their local school board member. They don't even know what district they live in. They don't even know there are districts in the local community.
No,
and so that's where we've got to start.
They're voting down party line, and so many people, especially in our communities, meaning Black and brown communities, are falling susceptible to that trend. Jackie, you had said it is about policies, but before I get you to expound on that, and you just to remind you, you shared that on a panel discussion you recently had at a church with a couple other phenomenal people. I want to pull Gary into this because Gary's been fighting locally, right, for this local reset with things like verifying voter outreach. Jackie or Gary, she said it's about the policies. You've been fighting these policies as long as I've known you, and Bob Savage, you've been doing this 30 years, 50 years.
Well, yeah, kind of. At least in this regard, I've been following in Gary's footsteps pretty much because he's the lead. But let's let him comment.
Well, my involvement came when I met some people from New York Citizens Audit 5 years ago at another event, And we got talking, and I looked into it, and then I interviewed Marley Hornick, their director, on the air here. And from there, it was just a natural progression to keep looking farther. The more that we found, the first thing that we found they downloaded the voter rolls. They FOIA'd it, got the voter rolls, counties, as many as would give it, and then the state. And we started finding all kinds of errors, anomalies, things that didn't add up if it was a legitimate system to keep track of the eligible voters and registered voters. And one thing led to another, and then they discovered the algorithms that had all these bad numbers hidden. They were randomly distributed, but they were accessible through these algorithms. From there, it went across country. We coordinated with other voter integrity groups and found the same thing. And what's coincidental, I guess, is that the voter rolls in the Dominion machines, or the Smartmatic machines initially that showed up from Venezuela, all came at about the same time period, 2007, 8, and 9, where the algorithm showed up.
And this juncture, by the way, it's very important for us to toss in here. Gary will confirm this. All electronic voting machines. A voting machine is a voting machine is a voting machine. It's the same source code. It's exactly the same corrupt system, which Gary's going to detail. But I mean, this dovetails very nicely with what Ms. Andrews is talking about, which is being locally involved.
Yes.
The electronic voting machines is a national, if not international, issue, but the local impact is massive. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, we can't really go into all the details of what we found and how it works. Just know that it was a deliberately built system. The source code has been transferred to all the different manufacturers now. They have multiple ways to affect the vote. And that is all being released very shortly. It's part of the Tulsi Gabbard going away presence that she's dropping with all these truth bombs about Fauci, COVID, the vaccines, all of this stuff.
We have like 3 minutes left in this segment here, so we want to get back to Ms. Andrews. But the impact to our guest is vital on the local level, which is what you're talking about, the great local reset, right?
Yeah. And it's about policy statement that you made, Jackie.
Correct. And see, and that's, you're not alone in your community. That's across the country. And as you said, the problem with where we are today in America, and my call and my, in fact, how I got to this the great local reset idea, and it is the fact that we have to have informed citizens. This was the founders' idea, that they assumed that citizens would exercise discernment, engage thoughtfully, and participate in civic life, right? So then here's where we are in America. We're not doing any of those things.
Nope.
And so you may be as passionate as you are. I may be as passionate as I am. But our system demands that we talk to our neighbors, make them aware, and if they are discerning, then they will turn their eyes towards what we're pointing at, and they will begin to say, oh, wait a minute, something is wrong, because they know what it ought to look like. Right now, our challenge is that our fellow citizens, a lot of them, have been brainwashed to first of all, believe everything is, I can't do anything about it, various things, right? They're overwhelmed or this, and they're distracted by this or the other. My call and the work that we're doing at Project 21, as well as Citizens Defending Freedom, is to bring the information, the tools and resources to empower citizens, first of all, educate them, and then empower them to take action locally. So can you imagine if you can gather a group of citizens within your local community who understand what you understand about the machines? Then they begin to talk to each other, then talk to the elected officials who are currently serving at the local level, and solutions can begin to, spiral up, as it were, towards the state, because this is a state thing. Every state has a Secretary of Elections, and they have a whole system, and those decisions are made at the state level, whether to use those machines or not. Yep. So when you start locally, you can effect change through your local representative at the state level to then maybe bring forward legislation to change things in your own state.
Jackie,
because we are a federation of states.
We are at the end of this interview, unfortunately. Just so you know, I just sent Wendy a text message and said, I want you back on for the whole hour if I could. But how can someone get a hold of you and learn more about you in the meantime?
Oh, absolutely. As you said, my name is Jackie Andrews. I am based in Virginia, and I work for Citizens Defending Freedom. If you would like to review just a little bit of what I was saying, we have a great tool called Clean Up the Mess. It's all about elections. If you go to citizensdefendingfreedom.com, you will find all our resources there, and you can find that resource about elections and what you can do at the local level. Citizens Defending Freedom, and my email address is jandrews@ccdf.USA.com.
Project 21 Ambassador Jacqueline Jackie Andrews. That's why I love that organization. Jackie, may God bless you in the work that you continue to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back right here in the Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty with Lines Open. No te vayas.
Bring her back, Peter. WYSL, WLEA.
The Voice of Liberty. WYSL. On Rochester, WLEA, WLEA FM, Hornell, New York. WYSL. Southern Tier Update.
In the eastern part of Steuben County, there's a number of grape farmers and wineries, and lately we've been reporting on that frost that happened in late April this year. That freeze damaged grape crops in Pulteney and Hammondsport and up in Yates County, too. Elected officials now are asking for help from the Department of Agriculture.
So we've written a letter to Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins urging that they approve the recovery for New York fruit farmers who were harmed by that weather event. And so we have asked for those resources. We have not heard back yet. So we will continue to pressure the Secretary of Agriculture to answer us and hopefully get the resources that we need.
That was U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. She's been working on this, as has Senator Schumer and Congresswoman Claudia Tenney and Congressman Nick Langworthy. I'm Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Southern Tier Weather, brought to you by Jones Memorial Hospital.
Partly cloudy skies out there tonight. Should be pretty comfy. Breezes will settle down a bit. Temperatures will fall into the 50s to near 60 on Saturday. Sun and cloud, just an isolated late day shower. For the light breeze, temperatures should be in the 60s and low 70s. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Rich Cadelia for the Voice of Liberty.
For warm weather savings and off-road fun, it's Dansville Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Franklin Street near the airport. Try these deals. Lease a 2026 Jeep Compass Limited SUV, only $289 a month for 36 months. Must have lease loyalty. A 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited SUV, just $389 a month for 36 months. Must have lease loyalty. A 2026 Jeep Wrangler S Sport Convertible is just $279 a month for 36 months. Must have 4xe lease loyalty. And a 26 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab pickup is $429 a month for 39 months. Must have lease loyalty. All lease deals require $2,500 cash or trade down. First payment, DMV, taxes and fees due at signing. 7,500 miles per year, except Ram pickup, 10,000 miles per year. Other conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Hornell, Bath, Wellsville, Perry, and Warsaw. Come take a test drive at Dansville Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Franklin Street, near the airport.
This is Bob Heineman. I'm a longtime resident of Allegheny County and have served several terms as a local justice and as a county legislator. I'm pleased to have this opportunity to strongly endorse Don Wilder Cole for county judge in the June 23rd Republican primary. Don has over 30 years experience and has been Allentown supervisor and justice. Ms. Wilder Cole raised her family in Allegheny County, has been active in her local church and in several volunteer organizations. Dawn's background provides a basis for a thoughtful understanding of the concerns of those appearing in her court. Dawn Wildry-Cole needs our support, and Allegheny County needs her as judge.
This message was enthusiastically paid for by Friends for Dawn.
It was 1980 when Republican candidate for President Ronald Reagan asked a question that remains relevant today. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Fast forward to 2026. We face high crime, high taxes, and soaring living costs. Democratic one-party rule is ruining our state. Your Monroe County Republican Committee is fighting to restore common sense in government and pave the way to a better, brighter tomorrow for our families. Join us. Register Republican and secure our future.
Insurance works best when it's designed around your life, not copied from someone else's. Liability to property, deductibles to limits. Each part of your plan should serve a unique purpose. Let's create a program that actually works when, life happens. Together, let's build value.
Insurance protection you can rely on. The Ryan Agency.
When you think chicken, think Stearns Poultry Farm Stores. Stearns Poultry Farm Stores with 2 locations, Seneca Street, Hornell, and Route 244 in Alfred Station. Stearns, the best chicken in these parts.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's coming, the great 2026 Geneseo Air Show, July 11th and 12th. Vintage aircraft showing their colors, everything in one place for a great family outing. Tickets on sale now, NationalWarplaneMuseum.com.
Peter Vazquez and Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty.
Thanks for joining us for lunch here on Next Steps, WYSL, WLEA, 585-346-3000, 866-552-1009. Again, we got Gary Stout in here with Peter.
Yeah, we do, ladies and gentlemen. Como dijo el señor Salvaje, pick up that phone, mouthful and all, and give us a call and give us your opinion. See? Because check it out, America's 250th birthday is one of them. I was around when we celebrated our 200th birthday. I thought that was pretty exciting. It was a different feel, guys.
It certainly really was. Yeah.
It was nuts. And I was a number 9 school at the time. I lived in the inner city of Rochester. But yet, all of us, regardless of who and what we were, looked at the 200th anniversary of this nation like a community. The most dumbfounding change in my 54 years of living, gentlemen.
There's been a lot of propaganda spewed in our public schools since then.
I think I want to do something, especially when I look at these polls, right, where 64% of Republicans plan to display God, country, and family, but yet 27% of Democrats, which is probably higher locally, right, aren't going to. And then we've got morons like these people coming up with what are they? The actors, De Niro and Jane Fonda and all these other morons coming up with the First Amendment organization stuff. I mean, Gary, this is why I dubbed this whole thing Vanbōōlzalness, guys. Hey, I got a challenge though. How about we do this as leaders in this nation of ours? That great local reset. I think it's time we pull all the stops and take this young lady's concept and bring it to fruition and make, you know what? These people, the candidates running for Congress, running for assembly, running even locally, become part of this. Become part of the solutions. I mean, the leader of the Republican Party in our county is also the leader in the Board of Elections. He would want to be part of a local reset, I would believe.
Well, you would think so. What we found, and not just locally here, but locally across this country, was when we exposed a lot of this problems with the voter rolls, the automatic registrations, and how that clogs things up, and numerous other issues with that, the mail-in ballots that get sent out to everybody on the voter rolls. Well, if you've got 5 million ineligible voter numbers in the voter rolls and they send a ballot to everybody, like they do in California.
Or 5 or 10 ballots to everybody.
See where that all runs into problems. And we found that out locally. Instead of being concerned and curious about what we brought to the Board of Elections, they opened a criminal investigation against our organization and tried to shut it down.
I know. I'm like, what?
You can't write this stuff. But see, the problem is, And the tell of all this is that everybody across the country, including Gary Burnson and Martine Rodillo, who did the investigation of the voter, the beginning of this voter manipulation in Venezuela, they were all threatened, ignored, or basically just shut down one way or another. That was not coming out. There were, Mark Wayne Mullen was the only federal legislator at the time who was given that information that did anything about it. So we're going to have to change a lot of these representatives in both parties. They have developed this system to where they are loyal to the party, not the people that they are supposed to be representing them. And they've completely lost sight of the fact that they are our elected employees. They aren't leaders. They aren't representatives. They're there to represent the best wishes of the country. And when you've got people being put in office that were not voted in by a majority vote, then guess what? You get people in there that have an attitude like they can't be replaced. They have the results of their criminal protection reforms. They misnamed criminal justice reform, and they don't change it. Well, why don't they change it? Because they know that their seat is safe.
Yeah, so
we're changing that.
Yeah, Gary knows wherever he speaks, because I'm sure that it's occurred to most of you thinking people out there. Why does nothing ever change? Why is it always the same? No matter who is, in power, and the people who are in power are not accountable. They're never brought to account for the screw ups that they perpetrate, and we just stumble along the same way. Well, because back 400 years ago, the monarchs of Europe ruled through a thing called divine right. They believed that they were anointed by God to lead the rest of humanity. Just, a little God complex going on there. And we have something similar going on now in what are supposed to be elected people leading our society. Because the cards have been stacked so resolutely in their favor over and over and over again, it's almost impossible for them to be removed from positions of power.
I don't know, Bob. The Brennan Center's, there's a survey. They may counter that a little bit and say that you and me and us are maybe the problem.
In what way?
Well, we'll look at the surveys here. Should we go to Lorraine first?
Yeah, let's go to Lorraine. Lorraine, you're on. What's going on?
Okay, I'm turning my radio off.
Yep.
I want to say something that to me is of extreme importance, and I'm sure it is to you guys. But is it Bob Savage? Is that your name, sir?
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Voice of Liberty, actually.
I want to say something. Bob Savage, Peter, and your lovely lady guests, all of you had points that were significant. They get lost when not enough people are hearing them in the first place. And everybody in the United States needs to know that this has gone on. The auditing is impossible with the Dominion system because the Venezuelans who were mentioned by Bob, see, he just made one sentence that referenced that. That's going to get lost. And also, there are too many points that are good that never get heard. And if they got heard several months ago, maybe people would start to act. It still wouldn't be time. What really has to happen is illegal that when this was all brought out quite a while back, I don't know exactly what year, when this was brought out about those machines, that they could escape auditing. Lee Zeldin was running at the time. That gives you a time frame. Okay, this is what I want to say. If people had been held to account who were in the Board of Elections, even the police, especially the Attorney General Letitia, if all these people had done their jobs correctly, and that is what they're there for, they're getting paid for, and besides, they're not doing something legally, they're just avoiding the truth that the machines are corrupt. The ones from Venezuela, they're still being bought, they're still being used. Who knows this?
Well, you got to start somewhere here, Lorraine.
Very few people.
That's what we're doing. Gary, respond to that for us, if you would. There's been a tremendous amount of work done, and there's been some good. You've made some progress.
Oh, there's a lot going on. There's lawsuits now. Marley Hornick filed a deprivation, a civil rights lawsuit against Letitia James. Tina Peters was released from prison in Colorado.
That was
She
huge.
was the woman. Well, that was the key to unlock all the rest of this information being released, because as long as they had her in custody and were threatening her with, multiple years added on to her sentence, they couldn't pull the trigger on the release of all this other information. That will now be coming out, I hope, before July 4th.
Tulsi Gabbard is on her way out the door, is dumping all kinds of stuff, everything from election integrity to the funding of gain of function research with Anthony Fauci, and literally hundreds of research facilities in totalitarian regimes over which we have no control.
And they lied about it all. Lied right to our face. They lied to Congress. They lied to everybody. And that's just one of the lies that they've told, and the Mockingbird media has perpetrated upon all of us.
Mockingbird media?
Yeah, they just take what they're told and they run with it, and whether it's true or not. And I wanted to point Lorraine to a resource that just happened this past couple days. There was a Fraud Fighters Summit. It's on YouTube. You can watch the whole thing. You can skip around through it. And it was all the movers and shakers in this truth movement that are releasing the information, and have been for several years, and we've all been ignored.
Yeah, so I would say just Lorraine, Google fraud fighters, and I'm sure you'll find out about it. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Peter, take us out here to break.
We are. Real quick, though, like 2 seconds. Brennan Center, good or bad?
The John Brennan Center?
The Brennan Center, yep.
Yeah, that's bad.
We'll be right back right here in the Next Step Show with Gary. I got some numbers to share with you, by the way. Don't go nowhere. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. 585-346-3000. And that 800 number. What is it, Bob? I can't remember.
866-552-1009. We'll be back. Next Steps, WYSL, WLEA.
Is your house collecting dust faster than you can clean it? Then it's time for... Hold on. Then it's time for Super Vacuum, Rochester's go-to spot for vacuum sales, service, and repairs. Need bags, belts, filters, or a brand new machine? Super Vacuum has you covered with expert service and hometown care. You'll find us at 724 North Winton Road, right next to Browncroft Buds Dispensary.
The youth of our city are in a new crisis. Criminal justice reform has created the consequences of no consequences and generated a whole new generation of 12 to 17-year-old kids committing serious crimes. Never before have we had this level of youthful offenders, but 90% of these kids are just trying to do the right thing and need a safe sanctuary to retreat to. That's Rochester Youth for Christ. You can be a part of this solution by giving generously and regularly at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Peter Vazquez and Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty.
We are back in here again, 552-1009, 866-552-1009, or locally 346-3000. Peter.
Hey, listen, if you're living somewhere outside of these urban centers, I want to hear from you too. And we're on social media. Give us a comment. You could text me. That's what my phone is for. So Gary and Bob, check this out. See, because the Brennan Center, right, their core warning is not that America is too cautious, but that the false claims of fraud have become a weapon against the independent, nonpartisan counting of votes and of the certification of the results, which the thing that gets me, the response that you have gotten from election officials is that, hey, we certified the results, everything was fine, right? Let me share some numbers. 75% in this 2026 Brennan survey says no added state or local resources have arrived to offset federal election security cuts. 80% say that their annual budget needs to grow over the next 5 years to address these cuts. 32% say that they have, these are the elected officials, that they have, as a result of the work that you do, see, have been threatened, harassed, or abused. 1 in 4 say they're concerned about being assaulted at home, at work. 50% say that they're worried about political interference in how they do their jobs. And get this, 74% said false information online makes their work more difficult or dangerous. So according to this, you're the problem. I'm the problem. Bob's the problem. Being the voice of liberty is a problem.
Think about the things that they have told you were not true over the last, say, 10 years.
Yeah.
They told you that the Hunter Biden laptop was fake, Russian information. They got 51 former intelligence officers to sign that letter saying that was, and all the time the FBI had it for a year. They knew it was true.
51 leftists.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. They bring these people out, and whether they pay them or they intimidate them to lie to us, you've got this narrative. And when I mentioned the Mockingbird media before, that's their tool for the propaganda. They say the same thing over and over on multiple channels.
John.
And then
the optimist.
They wonder why you can't convince people that they've been fooled.
Yeah. But by the way, I just want to jump in here before we go to our caller. It's not the John Brennan Center for Justice. It's the William Brennan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Center for Justice. He was a Supreme Court justice. And it's a nonpartisan organization, and it's
very left-leaning in their philosophy.
No,
If
not particularly.
If John Brennan has anything to do with it, it's bad.
It's William is not John Brennan.
Yeah, the CIA head that claims he's still running it.
John the Optimist. John, thank you for calling the Next Step Show, brother. Great to hear from you.
Hey, guys. I listen to you a lot. My schedule's been kind of screwed up, so I haven't been able to call in as much. But listen, Gary has done an unbelievable job in trying to get the word out. But I'm frustrated. You guys, Gary especially, has got to be frustrated when the officials won't listen to what's going on there and voter irregularities and election fraud. It's unbelievable to me. Maybe I'll try this. Josh Jensen is my assembly guy, and I'm going to approach Josh Jensen. He's a Republican conservative, and talk about this election fraud that's going on. And Gary, you're hitting walls, I take it, and talking to elected officials. What about Claudia Tenney and Langworthy and those people?
I mentioned it to Claudia Tenney on an interview on the Second Amendment show, and she got very defensive. See, the thing is, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. You all get paid the same. You get the same perks, basically. You get these additions to your paycheck, and they're happy with the status quo. And the ones that, like I said, there was one congressman out of all the senators in the Congress, the House Representatives members, who did anything trying to help Gary Bernsen get this message that he had about the Smartmatic software and source code to the DOJ to do anything. We had our information given to the FBI, to CISA, and most of those people are all been fired now as soon as they came into office because they were all in on it. They've got so much money through these cartels, which is actually who owns the source code. It's owned from the same people.
That's all drug money, John.
They just pay off whoever they can get. They bought the audit companies that certify the voting machines, the same people that run, Dominion, ES&S. There's a whole, it looks like the Biden family's series of bank accounts where they transfer money. They get a check from Burisma in Ukraine, and it gets divided up into 20 different people.
They own Maduro, right? In Venezuela. And wasn't that where one of the dry runs for these election fraud, scenarios were run?
Well, it was originally developed by Hugo Chavez with the help of Cuban engineers and Venezuelan engineers because Hugo Chavez was going to lose a recall election.
Didn't the thing come from Serbia originally?
Well, no. Serbia is where they moved one of the server farms to actually John Brennan, the guy that's the head of the CIA previously. He owns half the building. They put the server farm in. They use Huawei servers from China, and our machines are actually made of components, many of which are made in China. Then they're shipped to Taiwan and they're slapped with a different label.
Yeah. So John, I know you listen a lot. We're going to run out of time here, but I mean, it's a huge thing. It's international, right, Gary?
Well, China has our voter rolls. That's how they came up with the when you heard a little bit last year, they couldn't avoid all of it, but there were driver's licenses, fake driver's licenses shipped in from China. They were intercepted at customs, and that was to facilitate this voting system that they built. And, people say, well, it's not working. No, it's working exactly the way it was designed. They've stolen elections in 72 countries.
Well, the culprit in this whole thing, in my opinion, is the media.
Yep.
Starting with locally at WXXI, Democrat and Chronicle, the Buffalo News and Buffalo, Associated Press, and whatever. But I know Gary's tried to make some contact with the media, the Democrat and Chronicle, and basically it's been turned away in some of the TV stations. What really ticks me off is, as far as I know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that in Georgia, the 2020 election in Georgia, there were 300,000 ballots that were invalid. And if that's the case, I haven't heard squat about it in the media.
Well,
it's very deep, and it goes very far. By the way, John, I know this will interest you greatly. We here at WYSL back in the 1990s, we were an all news format radio station. John may remember that. We were affiliated with a product called Associated Press All News Radio. This was a network feed. They did a fantastic job, by the way, on 9/11 with the continuous coverage. But there was no commercial content on this network at all.
Well,
Except, hang on, punchline's coming here, John. Except for there was one recurring spot that would just find its way into the coverage from time to time, and it was none other than the SPLC.
Oh, wow.
On Associated Press All News Radio. So just stick that in your pipe.
Well, I got to tell you, the Associated Press, as you guys know, is very corrupt. I have a lot of communication by email with Associated Press with a lot of different reporters, and I can name these people. They're corrupt and they lie, and they're either liars or they're uneducated. The other thing is, I've noticed recently, like the Buffalo News and even the Democrat and Chronicle, they're going away from the Associated Press and the New York Times and going to Reuters. And Reuters, in my opinion, is just as bad. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's they're all very similar. I mean, Reuters, Associated Press, Al Jazeera. Believe it or not, a lot of people turn to Al Jazeera these days.
They pop up as top news in the United States when I do my show prep.
Oh, they have a lot of American correspondents. They have American bureaus. They're a full-fledged news organization, but of course they have that same political bent. We got a lot of work ahead of us here, John. So cross your fingers and say your prayers that we have a good midterm here, because we've got a lot of work to do in the last 2 years of Trump's second term. Maybe should be third term.
It's going to be tough, no doubt about it. But I think we got Donald J. Trump, man. I once called the Bob Lounsbury show and told Bob Lounsbury that Donald J. Trump is a cross between George Washington and Jesus Christ. And he was silent. He had no response.
Well, Bob Lounsbury works for a big publicly traded company, and therein lies the problem, John. I mean, that's I'll tell you, I had good friends from Ithaca College that worked at the Associated Press. Ed Tobias, who ran the Washington Bureau, an old IC chum, and I would have conversations with him. He's not working there anymore, but I can tell you that he shook his head and said, it's all just so wrong, but I need the paycheck and I need the retirement.
And that's how they get away with it.
Speaking of Ithaca College, you were a roommate of Ellen Combs, weren't you?
Not a roommate. I went to school with him. He was actually a couple of years ahead of me, and he did not graduate from Ithaca. But he was a chum, and we stayed in touch over the years. A very funny guy. Politically 180 degrees removed from me, but we still respected each other and had a lot of fun over the years.
I actually got into a debate on national radio with Combs. Remember when Obama, during his first running for re-election first time, had a huge rally in a stadium in Denver, Colorado?
No.
70,000 people. Combs was doing a national feed on it, and I was coming back from an exhibition game in Buffalo for preseason, and he took my call, and we debated about Obama.
He's a great guy. It's too bad that he's no longer with us, but I had a lot of fun with Alan, even though we argued good-naturedly about politics. We got to go, John. God bless. Go Bills.
You know, I got to have him on again someday. John, we missed talking to you. Gary, real quick, 2 seconds. See, tell me something. I got an email that said, hey, if you're willing to listen to us, we're willing to talk to you, too.
10 seconds.
Are you willing to listen?
Oh, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. God bless these United States of America, and don't let a second go by where you don't exalt the voice of liberty in your life.
The first ever food drive from Advantage Federal Credit Union was a huge success. This Saturday will be Food Donation Day. If your family needs support or you know of a family in need, please stop and get a bag of groceries for free. It's just this Saturday afternoon from 2 to 4 at 1625 Mount Hope Avenue, and it's only while supplies last. Thanks again to all who donated and supported this important program from Advantage Federal Credit Union.